The girl had only gone to the bathroom during the flight, never imagining that this small act would end up saving her life. Just as she finished tidying up and was about to return to her seat, the plane suddenly shook violently, followed by uncontrollable turbulence. She was thrown hard inside the tiny restroom, screaming for help in terror, but no one answered. When she finally regained consciousness, the world around her was eerily silent. She tried to open the bathroom door to look outside, only to find it wouldn't budge. Panicking, she kicked it open with all her strength. The sight before her froze her in place. The entire plane had crashed atop a snow-covered mountain. The brutal truth hit her. It was a plane crash. Everywhere she looked were twisted, frozen remains. Fighting back her fear, she searched desperately for survivors, but despair filled the cabin. Just as she was about to break down, she heard a faint sound. Following the noise, she found a man trapped under heavy wreckage. Without hesitation, she used all her strength to pull him free. Outside, a raging blizzard howled like the breath of death. With no time to think, the two hurried back into the relatively intact cabin, frantically gathering anything that could keep them warm. To survive, the girl dragged him back into the same bathroom that had once saved her life. Now, this tiny space became their only shelter against the cold. They wrapped themselves tightly in the blankets they'd found, clinging to each other for warmth, but the freezing air seeped through everything. Determined, the girl pressed the man's hands against her chest, using her body heat as their last defense against the deadly cold. In that long night of despair and shared warmth, they barely made it through alive, but their fight for survival was far from over. At dawn, after steadying her shattered emotions, the girl forced open the bathroom door. What she saw made her heart sink. The wreckage was almost buried under thick snow. All around stretched an endless white wilderness. It seemed impossible for any rescue team to find them. Gazing at the frozen bodies scattered nearby, overwhelming despair swallowed her, and she almost gave up hope entirely. Just then, the man's words struck her like a hammer. Think of your family. Think of your parents. That jolted her spirit back to life, at least for a moment. But while he could encourage others, the man couldn't silence the darkness within himself. When the girl turned away, his suppressed emotions erupted. He roared like a wild beast, pouring out his terror and helplessness. As another snowstorm loomed, they had no choice but to retreat once more into their fragile refuge. But staying put meant certain death. Desperate, the man decided to risk descending the mountain in search of civilization. He begged the girl to come with him, believing there might be life at the foot of the mountain, but she was convinced that leaving the wreckage was suicide, that outside, they would only freeze or starve to death. Seeing her determination to stay, the man had no choice but to turn and walk alone into the storm. Watching him disappear into the blizzard, fear finally overcame her stubbornness. The girl gritted her teeth and stumbled after him through the snow, and so, the two tiny figures began their deadly journey across the endless frozen wilderness. They climbed one desperate ridge after another, finding nothing but emptiness. Exhausted and afraid, the girl began to resent the man's decision, but there was no turning back. Just as she trudged on reluctantly beside him, the man suddenly seemed to spot something terrifying ahead.